How's it going then, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to another video here on our channel. I'm the FIFA Analyst, and today we are going to go ahead and analyze a game from XL, Gorilla, and Guild Nicholas. This was done over on the FIFA E live stream that we do participate in on Monday evenings at 6 PM UK time. Went down and broke down the whole of the game. In today's video, we are just going to get some snippets from that. It is about 20 minutes long, but it's got some real good information for you to help you take your game to the next level. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. We will take a look, kind of get a bit of an idea of what sort of formation that they will be running as well. Unlucky with that little Berber spin. So that's something that we can kind of, pick up on straight away, if I'm honest with you. So one thing that you guys have got to think about when you are playing FIFA yourselves, and we're going to talk about this when we get to the end of this stream as well, and it's going to be unpredictability in attack and having a variety of skill moves in your locker. Now, skill moves is kind of one of them things that, not everyone feels comfortable with doing, and I kind of explain it in a way where to learn skill moves. So when I was learning the Elastico, for example, I kind of just sat myself down for a week and I just spammed the Elastico. And that's because there's different animations, there's different cues to it and all that sort of thing, just to kind of work out where it works and where it doesn't work. So R9 does pick up the ball, Mbappe gets that turn, and then that centre-back has committed. So this is actually really good from Gorilla in this sort of area to spot this. But there's one thing that Nicholas does, which is crucial here to kind of help out in this, all right? And you might look at this and you think, well, what is it exactly? So let's kind of go through and showcase for you as we just quickly grab our Epic Pen as well. Give me 2 seconds. Disable. There we are. Sorted. So one thing that I always kind of talk about for players and FIFA players as a general sort of thing to take note of is where your defensive line is, right? And what do I mean by that? Are they in a back four? When you commit a centre-back out, you obviously leave a hole, right? So if Marquinhos here steps up and he doesn't win the ball, you've got a gaping hole there. And that's exactly what happens here. And this is where Gorilla spots this and goes into it. So you can see that Nicholas has tried his hardest to switch to Marquinhos to step into this lane, right? To stop that ball from reaching the Mbappe. This is a very dangerous area for Nicholas because when you get past these two centre mids and you get up against those two centre backs, that's where the defenders feel very isolated. They haven't got that protection from the centre mids, and if they beat that centre back and you win that battle, let's say, you get into that 18-yard box and you get a chance to test the goalkeeper. You get a shot, and that's where you need to be to obviously score goals. So because Nicholas doesn't win this ball here with Marquinhos and Gorilla takes that turn away, a quick Elastico to get that little bit of a speed boost to burst away from the hullet as well. And then this is when Nicholas kind of does a very, very good thing in spotting that actually I've left a bit of a gap here. So he grabs his Hatal and moves him over. Now you might think, oh, well, does that mean that Neymar's free? Technically, yeah, but, it's not very rare that it's not very often that a player's going to look for that ball. So bringing that man over, Marquinhos is going to track that R9 because Gorilla sent him on a run, and then he tries to go for that Berber spin, obviously, into the 18-yard box. Does it work out for him? No, it doesn't. Nicholas reads it really, really well. You might think, well, why didn't he just go to Messi? And I go back to the point of being unpredictable in attack. A lot of people here expect that pass to Messi, probably look for a left foot finesse or drive towards that byline as well. When we look for that and we see that, that's predictable. And that's something that we're going to talk about so much today is being unpredictable in attack. So he goes for a Berber spin. It doesn't work out. Why doesn't it work out? Well, what you're going to remember is that, these players practice all day, every day, and they learn the game and they learn the mechanics and they learn animations. If you actually look ever so slightly, there is an animation that Mbappe will do to spot what skill move this is going to be here. And that's what Nicholas pays attention to. So a quick Elastico, and then he gets through to there. And then can you see how Mbappe is about to plant his left foot forward and he kind of gets a bit of a lower angle? That's the cue to know what's going on here. If he then goes for like a skill cancel where he holds R2 and L2, then that makes things a little bit different. And that's where he, could obviously duke out Nicholas. But Nicholas defends that really, really well and just stands in that lane. What a lot of people won't notice here either as well is that Nicholas won't actually press the tackle button here. He's just holding the jockey button, which is L2 on PlayStation, LT on Xbox. And he's essentially just waiting and letting go of his left stick and waiting for the ball to just fall straight into Jallo's feet and takes it off him and breaks away. So that's kind of the first point that we want to talk about, unpredictability. Now, it didn't work here for Gorilla. A little bit of a shame. But next time it may do if he tries that. And that's something that we can't underestimate. It's about trying these things and sometimes you will be successful and sometimes you won't. Not everything has to result in you getting into the 18-yard box and scoring. Sometimes you just have to try these percentage chances, which sometimes they work and sometimes they won't. So you can see here that Nicolas actually makes an interesting decision to pull the Neymar back. And this is something that a lot of pros will do and a lot of high-level players will do, purely for that simple fact of it's easier to press and bring a man. Hello, Liam. How are you? Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. It's easier to press and bring that, centre attacking mid, that left striker or right striker back and get men behind the ball, get numbers behind the ball. And this is another thing that I talk about so much and teach across the board. Numbers behind the ball can help you win games on FIFA more than you can imagine, right? We all know that it's frustrating playing against someone that has 9, 10 men behind that ball, right? But that is part of it, and we need to try and get those numbers back. We want to try and sit up sharp and make it hard for the opponent to break through. So he's putting that Neymar back there, trying to get that pressure on Llorente. If he grabs Hullet here and pulls Hullet into that area, that's pointless. That's not really as good, because if he doesn't win that ball there, then bang, he goes outside. Messi then can lay the ball into Mbappe, and Mbappe can run and take on the defender. So he's just really trying to make sure that he doesn't have to do that as of yet. But he carries on going all the way, and this is what I think was interesting here. He could have grabbed the Hullet, right? But he carries on going with the Neymar. And then as soon as he sees that player lock from Gorilla, when he makes that run through there, that's when he switches to the left back. How does he switch to the left back? 9 times out of 10, this is going to be a right stick switch. So he was on Neymar here. The way we want to understand right stick switching, and this is probably the hardest thing, I think, for a lot of FIFA players to get right. Right stick switching, is a very big skill. The way I explain it to help people understand, it all comes down to your settings here, by the way, whether you're on ball relative or whether you're on player relative. Player relative is the default, so 90% of you will be directly on that. Essentially, it's like a clock, right? So the center of the player that you're controlling is that clock. So originally it was Neymar, right? So that means that Neymar, that's 12 o'clock, that's 6 o'clock, that's 3 o'clock, and that's 9 o'clock. So he's going to push that right analog stick to about 4 o'clock to get to that left back. And that's something that you have to get right. But why is this so crucial? Well, if he wanted to change here to Hernandez, he can do that. But he's also then got the option to change to the left centre-back, the Jallo, to cover that run through there and keep his man goal side and give himself that best possible chance to defend that area. So you have right stick switching, another key thing that we'll talk about today. One thing that I really think this is something that you can put into your game and learn from as well is the player lock. Player lock is where you push the left stick and the right stick in together at the same time. And what this is going to do is it's actually going to come up with just a little icon above the player's head that you did it with. I'll just quickly show you. We'll rewind and we'll go back and watch that. And you can get that understanding on there. So ball comes out. Soon as we get that icon, did you see it? We had this icon above the Atal's head. He then flicks the right stick that way to change to the Messi. And I think this is something that really separates at the minute a high-level player to someone in the middle range. Someone that feels like they're very good at FIFA but just lacks that little bit of initiative and that little bit of creativity and that spark. Player lock is a feature that you can really utilize and master. There's some professional FIFA players out there that use it so much more than others, and you can really see the benefits from it. When is it a good time to player lock, Liam says? It really depends, Liam, on... The best time I would say to do it is when you've got time on the ball. So you can see here how Gorilla makes the decision, right, to do the player lock when Neymar's there. If Neymar was here right on your heels, he's just going to step in and tackle the AI. Because, this player here now is the AI. This isn't... Gorilla's not controlling this player. Gorilla's controlling Messi. So when that ball holder has that little bit of time on the ball, is going to be beneficial. But the reason why we're going to do it, Liam, is because we can make the run however we want. Because Gorilla is now controlling Messi, he can go on the inside, he can go on the outside. If you were just tapping L1 here with this right back, Messi's just going to run in a straight line, essentially. Sometimes they change their runs, but it's not how you want it. It's down to the AI. It's down to, the computer there. So that's why we make that decision to player lock here. So when we have that little bit of time, and you can see Gorilla makes that run through the middle. And look at that. Look at how he waits to time that to perfection. This is inch perfect here. We managed to then go for that through ball. Messi's making that really good run, and he just gets that edge on that man. Now he gets into there, does 2 little ball rolls, and then goes for that driven pass across the face of goal. This is where you do R1 and X on PlayStation, or RB and A on Xbox. These at the minute are really strong. You want to use them in especially the byline sort of areas. But you can use them in the middle of the pitch. You can get the ball into your striker with it as well. They are very, very beneficial. Now, he lays that ball off across. He then goes for the shot, right? And when we look at this, the problem that you've got is obviously Marquinhos is stood right in front of him. And I think most people would probably, say, yeah, taking the shot's probably understandable. Gorilla's aim for the near post here, and this is actually a really, really smart thing to do, to aim for that near post, because Van der Sar, naturally, when the ball comes across his goal, he's going to be moving across with it. So going back the way that Van der Sar's came is the best thing to do. That's a traditional striker's finish. Some people would argue, if you really wanted to be pedantic, the extra pass to Ronaldo would have been better. But in saying that, Marquinhos could still cover the ground and block it. So I think this is very much a if and when sort of thing. There's no right answer here, but he's still got into a great position from that use of the player lock, from using the ball rolls, and then looking for that driven across goal. But a good block in the end, and manages to get it back on that press, picks that ball up, reverse elastico, and that's always going to happen. Like, if you watch high-level FIFA consistently, as soon as he wins this ball here, we'll go back to that interception because that's actually a really crucial part in this. When this comes into here, if you watch high-level FIFA, you know exactly what's happening. It's a reverse elastico. You can see how actually Nicolas defends it. Like, he knows where he's going. He's tried to get there. If you watch what he does with the Atal, he's not bothered about the Neymar. He gets into that position to go, whoop, I need to cover that reverse elastico. So he actually moves into that lane and he just gets it ever so slightly wrong. That is why the reverse elastico is probably one of the best skill moves in the game right now. It kind of has this way of forcing its way through and gets him into a really good position. You would back R9 to finish that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the finish. Just very close, and Van der Sar obviously gets a great save on to the end of it. However, let's pay attention to this. Now, again, I think when we focus on high-level FIFA players and what they do and how they do it and what makes them so good, what makes them different from us, it's this sort of stuff. It's pressing, along with the player lock and being unpredictable in attack and doing different things. How many of you guys here in the chat would do what happened here with this Renato Sanchez? Renato Sanchez is on the ball for Nicolas. He's about to come out from that press. He wants to get out of the half and then obviously start building into Gorilla's. He's had a bit of a shady start maybe. He's not even got close to Gorilla's 18-yard box as of yet. So he picks that ball up, and what does Gorilla do? The best time to win the ball is when you've just lost it. It's a rule in football that we talk about all the time. He's right six switched, and he's already on the man off screen. How would he be doing this, by the way? Camera angles, you can't see Sanchez. He would right six switch, and he would either look to see where the cursor is, or he's going to have his eyes on the minimap. A lot of people will probably use the minimap here, and then he'll step up, and he's already in that lane. That is an unbelievable press. If you don't do that, you allow your opponent to get out, come to there. Why can we do that as well, though? Well, take a look here at where the defensive line is. That is a solid defensive line. The left back and right back are there. Gorilla hasn't pulled his right back up. So if you pay attention at the bottom of the screen here, if the right back has, say, come up in this attack and the ball was coming out into this area, Gorilla then wouldn't have been as aggressive on this press because the right back would be here. He'd be out of position. So he'd actually want to keep his right centre defensive mid back, ready to defend that gap that we had, obviously, on the wing from using the wing back on there. But that's why he's allowed to press it, because he didn't do that. If he did do that, it would obviously be a little bit more dangerous to go ahead and press there. But he does win the ball back, gets a really good position, and obviously a fantastic save nonetheless from Van der Sar. Ball down the line, he didn't go for that. I'll come back to that in a second. I think that's something that's very useful for us to talk about. We'll look at it now then. Nothing else kind of comes from that. So, I see all the time, analyst can't cover through balls. Through balls, they really frustrate me on FIFA 22. Feels like FIFA 21, through ball, through ball, through ball. It's through ball season, right? That's why everyone talks about it all the time. It happens a lot. And I think through balls, yes, they are sometimes a little bit strong, a little bit overpowered. But I actually think a lot of the times it comes down to the player and what you do as that individual, right? Me, myself, I will cover every through ball that I think can be a risk to us, that can be dangerous, that can be a threat. So many people wait to cover the through ball when the player is already playing the pass, and that is too late. You need to be on any run that is penetrating your defensive line so much earlier. And you can see that here. Atal Gorilla has switched to him, and he is getting ready to cover this through ball down there. He's already on it. Look, see how he's immediately pulling his defenders back? He's giving his defenders an extra 2-3 yards run on that Ginola. So then it's nowhere near as big of a threat. And then Nicolas doesn't go for that through ball, which then means he has to build up. And then it gives Gorilla more of a chance to get numbers back behind the ball and get them into that right sort of area. So defend it, defend it. You have to right six switch and you have to cover those through balls, all right? Good press there from the Atal, just forcing him to go back a little bit. Switch. That shot cancel. Whoo, nearly. Nearly. Let's see how this pans out. So we'll watch this one more time. And I'm just going to ask you guys, do you think there's anything here that Gorilla did wrong in defense? Do you think there's anything that he could have done maybe a little bit better, a little bit differently? It's actually really good goalkeeper coming out as well. He was holding that triangle button to stop that. So the ball comes in, and we can see here the driven pass from Renato Sanchez. The R1 and X, as we talk about. Sorry, that is a terrible R1 and X from that Sanchez. It beats that midfield line. The ball then gets into the striker's feet, and we can look for those 1-2s. I'd say he should bring Cordoba over. He could do, Chico. The one thing that we have to pay attention to, what basically Gorilla's banking on here is that he's setting up a trap that Mbappe is forced to go that way. So as soon as he switches over to his right centre-back, he makes a decision that when that ball's laid off to go to Mbappe and say to Mbappe, I need you to play there. That's what he's saying. He's saying you've got to go into this sort of area. This little runner here isn't going to be possible because I'm going to position my player in a way that will block that ball. So he makes that decision. As you can see, when you look at that, you almost think, Ginola's not on. He's actually not there to be passed on to. You'd think more than likely a little pass into the Hullet, who's about to run onto that ball, would be better. So this is almost a... I don't know how to explain it in a way which kind of makes sense. But I personally put this down to defensive styles. And Gorilla is a little bit more aggressive in defense. Likes to try and, say, nope, not allowed that ban. I'm going to force you to go somewhere else. And sets up those traps. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out here. And this isn't necessarily a mistake from Gorilla. It's not exactly like it's a, you should never do that again. Because that's part of his playstyle. It's just a little bit unlucky that, unfortunately, he doesn't win that ball there. And that, that can happen. You're not always going to be into that sort of area. However, Nicolas still takes the gamble. He still takes that risk. He could go for the safer pass of a little through ball into the Hullet and then out here onto the wing. However, if he does manage to just thread that through with a little bit of lady luck on his side, Ginola is then in on goal. So now Gorilla realises he makes a mistake. He obviously switches, and this is the thing to take note of here. He player switches from that centre-back to Llorente. Mistake. Doesn't want to be on Llorente. Llorente's not close to the ball. So he then will right six switch again and get on the Cordoba to bring the Cordoba across. Every top player makes a mistake in right six switching, so don't stress if you do in game. Just try and keep calm as best as you possibly can and get that man over. So he comes across. What does he do straight away? Holds triangle. Brings the goalkeeper out. Why? He's out on this position, which, to be honest, Ginola maybe could hit that cross goal, but Van der Sar is so big, 6'4", I think, or 6'6", I can't remember. But he's tall anyway. It's hard to beat. He closes that angle down. That angle is getting smaller and smaller every second. Every time he gets closer and closer. So now he's forced to go around. He tries the shot cancel. The shot cancel obviously sends Van der Sar down to the ground. Unfortunately enough, he just manages to get a hand onto it. But our goalkeeper coming out so quick, that also saved him. And that's, again, another skill that high-level players will do as well. Coming up to half-time now. I would assume here Nicolas plays for last attack. What I mean by that is the 42nd minute. Last thing he wants is to give the ball away to Gorilla and give him an easy counter-attacking opportunity before the end of the half. So I imagine he just takes his time here, builds it up. Okay, actually goes for... Wow. Wow. What a goal. What a goal. That is completely unexpected. He has caught Gorilla off guard there. Gorilla, again, probably thinking the same as what I just thought. Nicolas is going to wait for the 45th minute, 1 minute of added time, then he's going to go to the attack. But instead, look at again, we spoke about it, 3 times already, sending that Hullet on a run. When he was here, he taps the L1 button to send the Hullet in the direction of him, and he goes into there. And look how he uses that Hullet. Again, you can use whatever player you've got in the middle who has that little bit of height, that little bit of force, and he green times the header, which is absolutely great. I can't green time a header myself. I don't know if you guys can, but no, it's not something that I'm too good with. One thing that, when you look at this stemmed back from this point here, right? And while as I look at this and think sometimes you're forced away through a bit cheesy, Gorilla has a 1-0 lead. Maybe he wanted to turn back here and just go, right, I'm going to go back in to Llorente, take a bit of time, and he will play for that last attack then. He's got that 1-0 lead. Last thing he wants to do is concede right before half-time. Some other players would go, no, Al, you're wrong. We want to go for that second goal before half-time. It's just an area of question maybe, but that is a really, really good finish from Nicolas. And yeah, that makes the game 1-1 overall. If you did enjoy the video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. As always, thank you all very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.